I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. All right, so I got the Phoenix Suns' Charles Barkley. We're going to probably have to do this in a couple of segments, but I want you to listen to some of the things he said, talking about anti-Semitism and what's going on now with these uppity, pinch-nosed Negroes and the anti-Semitism. Go ahead, Mr. Engineer. Roll that clip. Take a look, everybody.
So we have a lot to talk about this morning with Charles Barkley. But first, this NBA star Kyrie Irving has yet to return to the Brooklyn Nets after the team suspended him for posting a link on Twitter about a documentary that has been criticized as being anti-Semitic. The suspension was handed down after Irving initially refused to apologize and defended his decision to post the link. This is what NBA Hall of Famer Charles Barkley had to say before Irving was suspended.
I think the NBA dropped the ball.
In what way?
I think he should have been suspended. I think Adam should have suspended him. First of all, Adam's Jewish. You can't take my $40 million and insult my religion. If you're going to insult me, you have the right, but I have the right to say, no, you're not going to take my $40 million and insult my religion. I think the NBA, they made a mistake.
So joining us now, basketball legend, NBA analyst, Mr. Charles Barkley. Good morning to you, sir. I really appreciate you joining us.
Of course, Don. Thank you guys for having me.
Why so outspoken, especially when it comes to this issue? You know, even as someone you're covering sports, but you're speaking out about issues that have to do with culture and society. Why so outspoken about this?
Well, Don, I don't like that word outspoken because I hope anybody who sees racism in any form whatsoever should stand up, whether it's against a black person, a Hispanic person, a Jewish person, or Asian. Asian hate's going a big deal in this country right now. So anybody should try to do the right thing. If you see something wrong when it comes to race or homophobic or sexist, you should always say something. So, I'm always going to do that. I don't care about the repercussions. If I see something wrong happening, Don, I'm going to say something.
How do you think the league should deal with it? Because, listen, he's still on suspension, but how do you think the league should deal with it? The reason I ask is because, you know, everyone is speaking out about it. Kyrie Irving is facing, you know, what he's facing. But the league let him go for a long time. They sort of are forcing him to apologize, but what if these are his real beliefs? Should they be dealing with that as well? Maybe they have someone who actually believes these things. I'm not saying it's right. Instead of forcing him to apologize, maybe they should be dealing with that part of it.
Actually, that's a great question, Don. People have the right to feel and say what they want to. We have freedom of speech, but there are repercussions when you say certain things. Listen, I don't know Kyrie Irving. I don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. I think he's been suspended, rightfully so, and I think he should come back and play in the NBA. But, you know, that's a really slippery slope because, you know, people always talk about freedom of speech, freedom of effect, or you say whatever you want to, but there are repercussions. I mean, and he's paying for that right now, but this thing with free speech has really gotten out of hand, Don. I mean, you just can't go around insulting people and think it's okay just because it's freedom of speech.
Well, people say, well, listen, if I don't get to say what I say, it's cancel culture. And I don't know if you probably do not agree with that.
You know, I don't like using the term cancel culture because I don't want anybody counsel. But you should be called to the carpet if you said something wrong. You know, I don't believe somebody should lose their job or things like that. But you should be called out if you said something stupid. Hey, I've been called out many times, and I have no problem with that. But I hate the term cancel culture because very few people are canceled. Let's be honest and realistic.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Can I ask something real quick that I didn't think? Did you? Maybe you didn't see it, so you might not be able to answer. Did you see SNL? Did you see Dave Chappelle, his monologue?
I did not, yeah. But listen, let me just say this. I'm a Dave Chappelle fan. I have a really strict line on racism, sexism, homophobic, things like that. It's just wrong. It's nothing to joke about. It's a very serious subject. You know, Don, it's crazy. I'm almost 60 years old, and I grew up in Alabama, you know, and obviously I know about Montgomery, Selma, Birmingham, things like that. To still be having racial conversations 60 years later and we're debating whether people have the right to say it and joke about it, is really, it just makes me sad.
Yeah.
It makes me mad, but it really just makes me sad that 60 years later we're still having racial conversations 60 years later.
And more than a decade ago, I do have to say, and then I'll let you guys jump in here because I don't want to hog this conversation. One of the first people to contact me after I came out was this man right here, and that was over a decade ago. So these issues are really important.
All right,
You
Mr.
always
India,
stand.
Bring me up. Okay, that's very, Don Lemon, just to take the last thing stated, Don Lemon came out of the closet. He said the first person who called him was Charles Barkley. As you know, Barkley has been out the closet. But it appears to me that there is a movement afoot, and it very well may be orchestrated by the powers of the tribulation, where Hamites are now rising up against Shemites. We've heard Kanye West and his anti-Semitism, and Dave Chappelle, allegedly anti-Semitism. You would call Dave Chappelle probably homophobic. Then you got Kyrie Irving, the Brooklyn Nets, and a ton of others as well that are Hamites that are beginning to speak ill of the Jewish religion and Shemite people in general. And so we're going to see where this is going. Kyrie Irving refuses to repent. Dave Chappelle in Saturday Night Live didn't repent, but doubled down on his what one might call anti-Semitism. And Kanye West is refusing to repent as well. Now it's cost them a lot of money. They losing big money, no doubt about it. And Kanye probably losing the most. But it appears to me that there's something going on that we didn't foresee or prognosticate, that there would be an uprising of Hamites, that's black people, that got money, power, prestige, and visibility against Shemites, that's Jewish people. I don't know if anybody prognosticated that. I don't think I saw that myself. But we're going to see how this plays out. There's more with Charles Barkley. We'll have to get to it another time because my time is up for today. But this is very interesting as it develops. And I want to ask you of course, we're in the foreclosure issue here. And they're more threatening now in terms of wanting to confiscate our property. We are indeed a threat in many ways to both Shemite and Japheth developers. We are a threat. And they want to take me down because I am teaching a principle. I'm not anti-Semitic. I love my Jewish brothers. I've been a member of Jewish community. I've preached in Jewish synagogues and kebabs. I am not anti-Semite, but they may see what I'm doing here in Harlem as anti-Semitic. It isn't. It's pure Bible, but it's teaching Hamite people how to have the same kind of economic power.